Okay, we're going to start with the bony palpations for the radial ulnar joint and the elbow joint. First, we're going to start at the medial epicondyle, which is going to be on the distal end of the humerus, on the medial aspect of the humerus. So, shoulder, humerus, proximal end, distal end, medial epicondyle on the medial aspect, lateral epicondyle is going to be on the lateral aspect. And then we're going to go into the Ohlkranien process of the ulna. So let's get oriented. Thumb side, radius, pinky side, ulna. So Ohlkranien process is going to be on the ulna, and it's going to articulate with the Ohlkranien fossa of the humerus. And the trochlea of the humerus is going to articulate to the trochlear notch of the ulna. And the ulna is like this. And over here we have the Ohlkranien process, coronoid process on this tip, and in between is the trochlear notch that articulates with the trochlea of the humerus. And then we have the radial head of the radius, which is going to be on the thumb side. Again, radial head of the radius, right here. Okay, now we're going to do some palpations of the muscles and their actions. We're going to start in the anterior aspect at the biceps brachii. It's two heads. The short head actually goes from the coracoid process to the radial tuberosity, and biceps brachii helps with flexion at the elbow, supination at the forearm, weak flexion of the shoulder joint, and weak abduction of the shoulder joint. And then we're going to go into brachialis, which is deep to biceps brachii. You can kind of palpate it if you go deep right here, and that is the true flexion of the elbow joint. And then brachioradialis is going to be on the lateral or radial aspect of the forearm, so this more lateral aspect, and that's going to help with, maybe this you could say, it's going to help with supination and pronation, and also flexion of the elbow. Now on the posterior aspect, we're going to have triceps brachii. The three heads, they're going to help mostly with elbow extension, and the long head of triceps brachii actually attaches to the scapula. So that's going to help also with extension of the shoulder joint, so going like this, and weak adduction at the shoulder joint as well. Triceps brachii on the posterior aspect. And then anconeus muscle is going to be that triangular muscle that's also going to help with extension of the shoulder. Extension of the elbow. Okay, now the last part is going to be the muscles of the forearm. We're going to start with pronator teres, which in its name, pronator, so it's going to have pronation, and actually weak flexion of the elbow as well, but mostly pronation and weak flexion. And it runs from medial epicondyle to the lateral aspect, the radial end of the forearm. So right here, weak flexor, pronator. And then we're going to go into pronator quadratus. It's going to be help also with pronation of the forearm, but it's going to run on the distal end of the forearm from the medial aspect to the radius. So down here, pronator quadratus, pronator teres. Both help with pronation. And then the last one is going to be supinator muscle. It's going to help with supination of the forearm, and that's going to run on from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and attaches to the posterior portion of the radius.